It's your boy, it's me, DylanLasagna, and you know what I gotta do first, as always, gotta check my sound levels. It's your boy, it's me, DylanLasagna. Alright, I'm all good. But anyway, welcome to another week of DylanLasagna Live. It's almost the time of the year, it's Christmas, and how y'all feeling about Christmas? How is your holiday? Is Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa? What are y'all celebrating? Let me know in the chat, or if you're watching the replay, leave a comment down below. But yeah, it's almost that time of the year where you're giving gifts, or however you're doing it for the other holidays. But in advance, I wish you all happy holidays. And but we're just gonna get this thing started right away. Sorry for the overly long delay. I mean, but we're technically starting on time anyway, because 4:30 is always our start time. I just felt like I could have started a little bit earlier, since I technically have more time on my hands right now, but turns out I guess I don't. Turns out I guess I don't. But anyway, with all that aside, I haven't talked about wrestling on these shows for quite some time now, and there's a good reason for it. There's just overall fatigue on these shows for quite some time now, and there's a good reason for it. Let me see. There's just overall fatigue. There we go. Yeah, there's just overall fatigue. There's just overall fatigue with all the shows that are going on. Yeah, there's just too many shows to keep up on. Raw, SmackDown, even NXT, and now AEW, and it's like too much. It honestly, it's too much now. But this week, now that I've managed to actually catch up on a full show or two of NXT and AEW, I can honestly say that this whole Wednesday Night War thing that's been going on for like 2 months now, we can just put it to bed. Like, ratings aside, viewership aside, like, I don't look into any of that stuff when I talk about wrestling. I look at the overall quality of the show. How is it to me as a wrestling fan? How does it look fun to me? Does it look really nice to watch? Does it keep me engaged? And AEW for like a good couple of weeks did that. I haven't checked on NXT for a good portion of when it was starting to air live. I did check like before it did, like a little preview snippet of it. But when I watched it live, like the first week, and then I kept checking in on AEW, but then I managed to catch up on this week's edition, and I gotta say, there may be a reason why people are tuning into NXT more than AEW, and we're gonna get into that in just a bit. And I'm gonna talk about my random tidbit of the week last, because when I saw this random tidbit, I was heated. I was heated yesterday when I saw this. So we're gonna get into that last on this show. So let's talk about NXT and AEW, because that's gonna be the majority of this show. Let's talk first about NXT. I understand I don't watch much of NXT. Let me see here. Jack it up. There we go. So I don't talk much about NXT because I don't pay too much attention to takeovers or what goes on with that brand. For all of my life, I've always been Raw and SmackDown. But you know what? I'm on vacation. I might as well check out NXT. Since it's now on TV and not on the network. So your main event was Shayna Baszler and Rhea Ripley, and I gotta say, that main event, yes, it's another women's main event, but this was much better, in all honesty, than what we've seen at Survivor Series. And I don't know yet if it's on the level of, let's say, WrestleMania this year. I don't know that yet, but it just had this emotional connection for me, like the ride that Rhea Ripley, as much as I don't know her well yet, she was the inaugural NXT UK champion, or women's champion. That's so much that I know of with Rhea Ripley, the Southern Aussie girl. Sorry, this is how much I don't know much of the women's wrestlers right now. Like, she made her way to NXT. She won it, Shayna Baszler. She pinned Baszler at NXT War Games a couple weeks ago. She got her opportunity for the title, and she had to fight off the Horsewoman. She had to fight off an arm injury because of Baszler, like, during the match, and dang, she overcame everything to win it. She kind of went super Baszler, super Riptide. It was pretty insane. And Baszler did, like, the heel she was. She was a good heel throughout this match. Like, she had the Horsewoman come out, like, or they came out. They did everything to distract her, but they got kicked out. And then Baszler tried to use a chair, but well, she DDT'd Ripley on the chair. But that didn't do anything. And then she tried the Barracuda clutch. Like, I think that's what her finisher is called. But the fans were just clamoring. It's like so nice that the fans are so invested into Ripley. Much more than I am, obviously. They were so invested in her that they did not want her to lose. They were wanting her to, like, wake up. And when she did, when she grabbed the ref saying, "I'm not letting this match go to waste," the fans were, like, super into it. And then when Baszler, like, got all cocky and taunted Ripley, and Ripley headbutted her and grabbed her for an super Riptide. That was kind of nice to see. That was actually the damnest thing in the women's division I've seen so far, like, since this revolution started. I mean, aside from Ronda Rousey, like, debuting and all that stuff, but the NXT women's division is by far killing the WWE women's division, and that match last night was another indication of that. And like I said, Rhea Ripley, that may have convinced me to go back and watch her previous work. Like, I might want that. I want to know more. Like, and I liked the video package that they did beforehand. Like, they introduced me because I missed so much NXT worth of weeks of NXT that they gave out. They were smart enough to, what the main roster doesn't do, give out a video package of what to catch up to speed on this rivalry. And spectacular job on NXT. Spectacular job. And for Ripley, her future is bright. I really hope that fans stay invested in her. I mean, they're pretty smart. Like, NXT fans are pretty smart when it comes to their loyalty, I guess. I mean, they stuck around with Bayley throughout her NXT run until she got to the main roster. Then, when she was still a face, then they started to tune out. And then I just hope they do the same with Ripley. She's still she still is a top babyface. I just kind of feel bad with all the women that were currently there lined up to face Baszler. But then again, it's like the majority of the women there, like Io Shirai, Candice LeRae, Bianca Belair, oh yeah, Kairi Sane, like they faced Baszler multiple times and lost, while Ripley lost because of this disqualification and won the rematch. So it's like that's a testament to how much faith not just Triple H but also Baszler has in she could be the next women's champion for NXT. And as for Baszler, I think she's gonna get at least one more match to try to capture her title back, but in all likelihood she's probably gonna go back to the main roster, target Becky Lynch most likely, even though, well, you can't really target Bayley because Bayley is the weakest of the champions right now. She's probably gonna go after Becky Lynch because they have some unfinished business, especially after Survivor Series, with how Survivor Series went down. They're probably gonna have a WrestleMania rivalry, barring unexpected return from Ronda Rousey. But yeah, we'll see how 2020 how that folds to be for the women's division. We'll get into that a lot more later. Also on the show, we had the NXT champion Adam Cole, baby, going up against Finn Balor after Balor defeated was it Tommaso Ciampa and what's his name? That one guy. I can't remember his name, damn it. I can't remember his name to become number one contender. So this match was so-so. It's honestly something you expect in a takeover match, and also something you would expect in an AEW match, to be honest. But the big story here was Johnny Gargano, after weeks of being attacked, or after weeks of being missing because of what Finn Balor did, after being turned on by Finn Balor, he made his return, cost Finn Balor the match, and he attacked Finn Balor afterwards. So that sets up a rivalry for the next takeover for likely NXT Portland. So now I'm intrigued to watch NXT for the rest, into 2020. See where that goes. Maybe catch up on previous NXTs. So that's what happened with the NXT Championship match. Adam Cole retained, and to be honest, I don't know who else could possibly challenge Adam Cole at this point. That one dude, what's that guy's name? Let's see, Survivor Series. Let's see. Keith Lee. It was Keith Lee. I think Keith Lee's the only realistic challenger. There's Tommaso Ciampa, and Keith Lee. That's pretty much it. For Adam Cole, I don't know who else is left. I really don't. It's Cole has faced pretty much almost everyone there that's there, other than his Undisputed Era teammates, which that will never happen. A fatal 4-way between all the members of Undisputed Era. No way that happens. Unless Triple H is that crazy to break them up. It's I don't see that happening. I don't. I really don't. Now, there's one more thing I want to talk about with NXT. Because I didn't find anything else to be that remarkable. And that's what they're doing with Dakota Kai. they had this heel turn with Dakota Kai, done like shockingly, at Takeover War Games. Like, it was a sudden move. Like, we knew it was like, it kind of was teased like going into it, when she was not picked to be on Team Ripley, but like, it kind of felt sudden to me. It really did, when she turned on, who was it, Tegan Nox, like her team kick partner, whoever it is. I gotta look this up because I don't know who these people are. Yeah, Tegan Nox. That's her name. Oh yeah. So her teammate, her team kick partner Tegan Nox was knocked out, and the problem here was like there was no follow up from that. All Dakota Kai did after that was show off the knee brace, her former team kick partner, and act menacingly, kind of like Bailey right now, and that's it. It's like, I mean, are they trying to play off an injury for Tegan Nox, or like what's going on here? Like, you can discount my criticisms all you want because I don't watch NXT every week, but I'm just saying, where's the follow-up? We do have this stuff with Mia Yim going on, but it's like, what about some like talk with Tegan Nox herself? We haven't heard anything from her, so I'm just wondering, when are we gonna see anything like any follow-up between the former Team Kick members? Because let's remember, it took us 2 weeks like before we saw proper like follow-up, like a proper follow-up between Seth Rollins and Jon Moxley, aka Ambrose, to start feuding with one another, like when the Shield first broke up. Now, when are we gonna see something like that with what remains of Team Kick? I mean, I'm no writer, but I feel like they need to do that at some point before, like, I don't know if they had that plan for Takeover, but I don't know. I'm just not a fan of what they're doing with Dakota Kai right now. Like, ignoring the fact that she turned on Tegan Nox. But that's pretty much it with the NXT stuff, because there's so much more I want to talk about with All Elite Wrestling. So here we are with All Elite Wrestling, their final show going into 2020. They're not doing one next week because it's Christmas and they don't want to compete with all the NBA action that's happening. And side note, please put, I know my Warriors are ass right now, but please switch the networks for my Warriors game. Just switch the networks. I hate to say it, but switch the networks. But anyway, before we get off track, let's go back to AEW, because I come back for a full episode after only seeing highlights on YouTube and Twitter for like ever since I watched the last full episode back in like the beginning of November, and oh my god, what the hell are they doing? What the hell are they doing? Why in the hell are they still boring me to death? Why the hell are they getting this close to being as bad, as faulty as WWE. I'm sorry to say it. Like, I didn't see any like implicit like jabs at WWE like from AEW in this particular week, but it's like, what's up with these random tag matches, these obvious spot fests that are still going on? There's still no character development going on here. There's no backstory to anything that's happening on AEW other than, oh, Cody is trying to get past the Butcher and Blade so he can get to MJF, and Chris Jericho is trying to get Jon Moxley to join the Inner Circle, but he first has to deal with Jungle Boy. And that's it. That's it. It's like nothing else on this show is appealing right now. It's like, is this what they're gonna do in 2020 also? Is only have 2 appealing storylines and random spot orgies, and also more jabs at WWE from not just Chris Jericho, but from Cody and other guys as well? I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't get invested into a majority of the stuff on Wednesday. I couldn't. You know why I couldn't get invested into any of it? Because of what the first match offered. Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page, who, by the way, of all the elite, is the weak link. It's just, with all the wrestling potential Adam Page has, he somehow gets the least of it. They faced the Lucha Bros, but I just didn't see what need was there for this to happen. They did explain that like last week, that there was a reason they were teaming up again because of tag team chemistry issues, but why were they facing the Lucha Bros again? Oh, so they need to patch things up. I don't know. There's still not enough rhyme or reason for this match to be happening. And the only reason why I care about the Lucha Bros so much is because George Kittle from the 49ers does Pentagon Jr.'s Zero Fear taunt. You know, every first down that George Kittle gets, he does Pentagon Jr.'s taunt. So that's the only reason why, other than like the Lucha Bros tag team chemistry, I care about them so much. It's because of George Kittle. So I don't know. It's just that throughout this match, throughout this opening match, which for some odd reason doesn't get entrances, which became a theme throughout the night, which also didn't get a proper introduction from the announce team, or like they didn't like get a proper introduction. Yeah, a proper introduction from the announce team, like, hello, I'm Jim Ross, and then they didn't get a camera shot of them because, oh, they're trying to stay within TV time. You know why? Like, this was the problem, like, throughout AEW for the past couple of weeks. They can't stay within TV time because they keep doing stupid stuff. What do I mean by stupid stuff? Well, let's look at what they did at the beginning of the match. Pentagon Jr. spent a whole lot of time taunting Adam Page when they first tagged in. So Pentagon Jr. was just prancing around, taunting Adam Page for like a good 5 minutes before and then he took off his glove, and then like, I don't know how the fans eat this up so much. Like, I just don't get it. And then Adam, before he did his Zero Fear taunt, it's just like it took a good 2 minutes to get to that point. I mean, Adam Page obviously mocked Pentagon Jr. with his cowboy shit, or I don't know how it's pronounced, how it is, his cowboy taunt. And then Pentagon Jr. Did more of this before doing the slap on Hangman's chest. Then they had a slap fest, and then it just took forever to get to the point where I actually got to care. And even then, I had no reason to care about this match, other than there was a miscue at the end of it when Adam Page was going for the buckshot lariat, but Pentagon Jr. ducked out of the way and hit Kenny Omega, which allowed the Lucha Bros to hit their finisher and get the victory. Obviously, more team issues within the Elite, within two members of the Elite. Before they can, things boiled over, Pac interrupted and still wanted that rematch for some reason. Maybe I missed something from last week or a few weeks ago. Pac wanted yet another rematch from Kenny Omega, and he targeted one of his best friends, and then Kenny Omega went to go check on him, but he got attacked by the Lucha Bros before Adam Page went to before he went to fend them off. So that was pretty much how it was on the opening segment, and it took a good half hour, not even a half hour. It took a good near 50 minutes to reach that point before we got to the next match, which was Cody and Darby Allin against the Butcher and the Blade. I really don't know about the Butcher and the Blade by this point. It's they mentioned that they won against Cody last week, against another partner, a different partner that Cody had, and that was their first match, I guess. But then they lost this week when Cody had Darby Allin, and throughout the match, I forgot which one was the Butcher, which one was the Blade, but the big guy on the Butcher and the Blade, he was no-selling almost everything that Cody and Darby Allin was giving to them, but then they still lost. It's he was only taken out of the match when Darby Allin hit that coffin drop on him, when on the ring apron, and that was pretty much that. And I don't know, it's how are we supposed to take this new team seriously when they've lost already? It's I don't know. But I mean, even with Allie, oh wait, we can't call her Allie anymore because Brandy cut her hair. The Butcher, oh no, the Bunny, oh yeah, I'm the Bunny. The Bunny distracted Cody and Darby for the majority of the match. So it's not even that was useless. Even that one was completely useless. So I don't know what they're gonna do with them. And I'm just ready for Cody to go and get MJF. It's probably not gonna happen for a long while because Revolution is on Leap Day, February 29th, their next pay-per-view. So it's gonna be a long while. So we're just gonna have to wait. Before I get to my favorite moment from AEW on Wednesday, I need to talk about two more matches that happened. Britt Baker versus Chris Datlander. This is I seen a highlight or two from Chris Datlander on Twitter. I'm just what is she doing with Brandy? She was doing she was communicating with Brandy doing this, and then I finally got to see her on like in a match, like and on TV. And it's like she has an alien gimmick. That's why she's communicating that way. Like she has this alien gimmick and she was introduced from the Astronema Galaxy. So it's just like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But it was like kind of like at that point the crowd was kind of tired. I don't know how they were so tired by that point. It's like it's not like a long ass WWE pay-per-view. Either that or it's like that city that they were traveling to wasn't a really good wrestling city, but I don't know. So I'm just intrigued how far Statlander's alien gimmick will go, because you know sometimes those gimmicks we've all seen how kind of out of this world gimmicks go in wrestling. Well, I haven't seen it in the indies yet, or like other companies not named WWE. I don't know how far they normally go and how received they are outside of WWE, but I'm willing to give this like somewhat of a chance. She looked pretty okay and like pretty good in the ring. If she's on AEW Dark, I'll check some of her workout. But man, the woman she faced, Britt Baker, it was by far her worst outing yet. I gotta say, this was Britt Baker's worst night yet that I've seen. Like the move, like I don't know what it was. Like the moves she hit were so like so dirty. Like I don't mean that like in a heelish way, but it wasn't hit properly. Like the sling blade she hit, or like the drop kick that she did during the match, it was like it wasn't good. It wasn't really good. Like a lot of stuff she tried to do, it didn't resonate well, or it didn't properly connect. And I know it's just one match that I'm bashing on, but this like we've seen a few performances like that at Fight from the Fallen, but that made sense. Like that, I gave that some slack because she had a concussion. But then there was also Double or Nothing, when she was like kind of felt out of place a bit, and I don't know. I'm just hoping that she bounces back from this, because I think of all the women's wrestlers, her character can at least be explored a bit. Like she has potential. I think she's too she's still, I don't know if she's too inexperienced, because she only has like 3 years of wrestling experience, so that's considered inexperience. But we need more from Britt Baker, because like before Wednesday she was number 1 in the AEW rankings, and now she's probably down the rankings because she lost to Chris Statlander, who was 2. So I don't know. I just hope she continues to improve her ring work, because like there are so many women in the AEW locker room that are dying for Baker's position, and considering her performance, those opportunities will come far and few if she continues to do that, what she did on Wednesday. After the match, she was trying to get interviewed with Tony Schiavone, but Schiavone obviously couldn't do it because Statlander speaks in alien as part of her gimmick. And then Brandy came out to try to convince Statlander to join her Nightmare Coalition. I think that's what it's called. And obviously, at the beginning of this part, I mentioned that she said, and then she got distracted by Awesome Kong and some other chick that is also part of it, and Brandy hit her in the head with her high heels, and that was pretty much the end of that segment. But I don't know, that was pretty much that. you had your main event in the AEW World Tag Team Championship, between the Young Bucks and SCU. There was an interesting point before the match where the Lucha Bros taunted Chris Daniels about not having it, not having the wrestling ability that he once had anymore. And that made Chris Daniels walk off. And I'm kind of interested to see if that's gonna be a major like storyline, and I honestly hope it doesn't lead to a breakup, doesn't lead to Chris Daniels leaving SCU, because SCU is like a tag team that is needed in AEW, because the Young Bucks ain't cutting it for me. I'm sorry, Young Bucks have no personality whatsoever. Speaking of them, this was yet another match that proved in their pro video package they can't even sell it. They can't even sell it. They can't promo. They could people only like them for the spot orgies, and that's it. And the monies and the buck monies. But they obviously had to have a spot fest with SCU in order to get people to say, oh wow, this match is awesome. Yeah, not for me. Not for me. I mean, SCU retained and all that stuff, but I was just not amused by it at all. But what was kind of odd after the match was the Dark Order coming out and trying to initiate the Young Bucks into the Dark Order, because immediately after the match, when SCU was congratulating was congratulating the Young Bucks, and they're the Young Bucks and the SCU were shaking hands, but they were so dumbfounded and so ignorant that they didn't know what was it, whatever the minions of the Dark Order were called. They're so surrounded by so many people from the Dark Order were there. It's oh, the creepers. They're so stupid not to realize that there were creepers around the ring. It's idiotic. It was pretty idiotic. And then the leaders of the Dark Order came out and they wanted to initiate the Young Bucks, and that led to a full-on assault. They were clearly outnumbered, which led to the rest of the Elite, without Adam Page, interestingly enough, coming out to try to help the Young Bucks and SCU, but obviously to no avail, because there's just too many of the Dark Order. And before the feed got cut off, they were gonna try to put on a mask, a Dark Order mask, a robber's mask, on one of the Jackson Bros, I think Matt or Nick Jackson, but the feed immediately went to the next show, whatever's on TV that night. So I was well, we don't know what happened next, so F you. So that was pretty much all Elite Wrestling. Oh yeah, not yet, because the best moment of the night came from when Chris Jericho faced Jungle Boy in a 10-minute match, and that was because Jericho made a bet that Jungle Boy couldn't last 10 minutes in the ring with him, all because Jungle Boy pinned Jericho 2 weeks ago. No, was it a week ago? No, yeah, a week ago, I think. I don't know. But that happened, and I gotta say it was kind of funny to watch, because I was just waiting for the moment for an upset, or if it was just gonna lead to a predictable Jericho win, because Jericho was just playing around with Jungle Boy, and they even had this video package lined up for him, like him training to fight Jericho. And I thought I felt that made it like really, like, not really, I wouldn't say special, but at least it made for the moment, you know, that, oh, Jungle Boy is gonna, like, has, at least in the fans' eyes, a chance to, like, beat Jericho. But the commentators were playing it down so much that Jericho was mopping the floor with them. And, well, obviously he was. And then Jake Hager and Luchasaurus got themselves ejected after getting themselves into a fight. Then Jungle Boy mounted some offense a bit. He hit 3 suicide dives, hit a lion salt on Jericho for a 2 count. And then Jericho got back on the offense. He never hit the Judas effect during this match. All he hit was code breakers and walls of Jericho's. But he never went for the Judas effect because I guess Jericho has a heart, I guess. But at like around the 1.5 minute mark, he went for the wall. He locked in the walls of Jericho, and then around 45 seconds, he like stretched it further, so Jungle Boy couldn't go to the ropes. But Jungle Boy never tapped, and yeah, he made it to the 10 minutes, but it was ruled a draw. When I felt like Jungle Boy should have gave Jungle Boy the victory when he did last 10 minutes. And this is where things got really out of hand, really funny. Jericho, this was the start of Jericho's temper tantrum. Jericho thought he had the match won because he thought he tapped out. He tapped out Jungle Boy, but no, he found out that that time ran out, and he never that Jungle Boy never tapped out. So he went to Justin Roberts and grabbed him by the coat jacket and demanded for 5 more minutes. So Justin Roberts gave him those 5 more minutes, but he almost got pinned twice. He almost got pinned twice. He got so mad that he walked off. He was like, nope, screw you all, I'm going home. He took his championship, he took his ball and went home. And that was pretty much the end of that. But nope, it wasn't. As soon as Jungle Boy left the ring, Jericho came out and threw a hissy fit. He threw a temper tantrum. He threw everything at ringside, so much that Justin Roberts left the ringside area so he would avoid a beating from Jericho again. Jericho also, in the weakest attempt, hit the ring post with the chair, and then proceeded to ignore after he claimed victory. He proceeded to ignore Jungle Boy and direct his attention toward Jon Moxley, and pretty much continued to offer him like his plea to join the Inner Circle, and that was pretty much that. But this just proved that Jericho is still like one of the best heels in wrestling. It's like whatever material you give him, he will make it golden. Like, he will make it gold. It's like whether it's facing Jungle Boy or The List or some really stupid stuff, Jericho will make it work. Jericho will make it work, and even make it like really funny, really stupid, however you make it feel. I'm really intrigued to see if Jungle Boy will actually get a world title rematch on New Year's Day. I'm actually hoping he does, because I want to see if he actually lasts longer than 10 minutes. But I don't know. we'll see. We'll see what happens with Jericho. I mean, anything happens with Le Champion. But that was pretty much it with All Elite Wrestling Dynamite. Most of it was boring. I mean, anything like with Jericho, like so far in AEW, was pretty entertaining. But other than that, All Elite Wrestling, man, it was good for like on occasion. The only good things about it though are Jericho, Moxley, a little bit of Darby Allin, some parts of Cody, MJF, Luchasaurus, the Lucha Bros, only because George Kittle does Pentagon Jr.'s taunt. And that's pretty much it. There's nothing else intriguing about All Elite Wrestling right now, because again, there's only 2 good storylines happening right now, and like there's all there's left is to do like spot fests, and there's no like character arcs. There are no video pack. There are rarely video packages being produced in both AEW and WWE, and I feel like that's hurting both of them right now. It's like they like both WWE and AEW expect us to know who these people are, and yet we don't know. That's why they're like no one outside of the wrestling community knows who they are. Like they can't market them because like what's their backstory? Why should we care about them? Like what makes them so special? But more on that in a little bit, because we're gonna talk about my random tidbit of the week, which is gonna close off tonight's show. And man, when I saw this, I kind of got mad at what was seen. So I didn't watch WWE Backstage this week because they never seem to promote it that much on FS1. But they talked about the state of the women's division like in the later part of the show, and like they responded to what Paige had to say on like the After the Bell podcast with Corey Graves. And you know what, I just want to let's just play for you what they said. We're just gonna play for you what they said.
Our own regular here on WWE Backstage, Paige, she was on the After the Bell podcast.
After this advertisement, of course.
All right, so our own regular here on WWE Backstage, Paige, she was on the After the Bell podcast with Corey Graves. We already know, of course, that lady has zero filter, and she made news of what she had to say about the women's division.
I don't understand why we don't have another girls' pay-per-view. We had that one-off deal. Like, what the hell's that about?
Evolution,
no, give us
right.
one every year. Like, that's the whole purpose. We had a women's evolution for a reason. I was like, and you know what? Let's stop talking about the women's evolution and actually just let the women do whatever they want. And I just feel like a lot of the girls are being held back.
Yeah, so
there's a lot of women that should be given an opportunity.
I think that Paige has some money to put in our swear jar, first and foremost. But Paige hasn't been the only one that was...
Now, I didn't hear the full snippet of Paige on that podcast, but we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna repeat it again, but the reason why the women's revolution started was because of Paige. Not just because of her work in NXT, But what happened the night after Fastlane 2015? Do y'all remember Give Divas a Chance? Do y'all remember hashtag Give Divas a Chance? Do y'all remember that 30-second or like, what was it? 20-second match that Paige and Emma had with the Bella Twins on Raw the night after Fastlane, 4 weeks going into WrestleMania 31, and fans were so angered they were so tired of the mistreatment of the women's wrestlers, or the divas at the time, their mistreatment of the short matches. Like, they started a hashtag movement, and it caught the attention of Stephanie McMahon, and that was what was the beginning of it. Yes, it didn't like take off completely. There was still these 4 3-minute matches that happened, mainly because of deaf issues. Yes, let's not discount that. There are still deaf issues today. But we need to stop giving credit, like full credit. I'm not saying give like credit, like partial credit, but full credit to the 4 horsewomen. That is Charlotte, Ric Flair, Sasha Flakes, Becky Borbelt, and Snaley. No disrespect to them, but why are we still giving full credit for what they've done? Why? They've had good matches before that Give Divas a Chance hashtag started. They had a good match at Takeover, the first Takeover, the first good match at Takeover 4-way, Fatal 4-way, and what else happened after that? After that, it was the hashtag. It was the hashtag. And even before that, Paige and Emma had a really good match at the first NXT network event. The first ever NXT takeover. Or no, not the first ever NXT takeover. The first ever NXT WWE network event. So why is Paige not getting enough credit for this, for jump-starting the evolution or revolution, whatever?
Vocal here. Both Charlotte and Becky have said that the division doesn't feel quite as hot as it did around WrestleMania. So, Ember, what do you think about the women's division?
Don't blame Vince.
As
don't
we head
blame
into the new
Ronda Rousey.
decade?
Blame yourself.
You know, I'm going to hop on my soapbox here.
Don't blame Charlotte and Becky and everyone else and the crack writing team for not allowing themselves to develop marketable personalities for themselves.
I 100% agree with Paige. I agree with Becky. I agree with Charlotte. Since WrestleMania, we've only featured 4 or 5 of our female superstars, and there is a plethora.
Again, why are we only having, let's say, the 4 horsewomen and Asuka featured, and Kairi Sane only featured on TV? It's because nobody else right now has a compelling character. Not even the 4 horsewomen have compelling characters. So it's like, why are they getting featured? It's because fans only like them, and like fans have a reason to care for them. It's like fans don't have a reason to care for the Moronics, even though they're cringy and annoying as hell. They don't have a reason to care for Carmella. They don't have a reason to care for Alexa Bliss nor Nikki Cross. They don't have a reason to care for Fire and Desire. They don't have a reason to care for anyone not named the 4 horsewomen or Asuka and Kairi Sane.
out there. It's irritating to sit back and watch, to see these women that work so hard, that are so passionate, that just want to steal the show and entertain, that aren't getting that opportunity, that aren't getting that platform.
Lex, what are you seeing backstage? I mean, whether it's in the locker room, I mean, everything that we've seen, even from the tag division, I mean, where do you think that stands?
You know, I think it's amazing that, you know, our women just tag division just main evented the pay-per-view, but I would definitely like to see more of our tag division.
How are you going to see more of your tag division when you have no tag teams outside of what I just mentioned? Asuka, Kairi, Fire and Desire, Alexa, Nikki, and the Moronics. Did I mention Fire and Desire yet? I don't think I did. You only have 4 teams. You could have had 5, but Team Kick is no more. So you only had 4, and you can blame your crack ass writing team for. You can blame your crack ass writing team for not making compelling characters.
You know, Nikki and I were fortunate enough to hold the titles, but our tag division has some of the most talented women on the roster that are just not getting that opportunity. So
again, there's not only is there not enough effort from the creative team, but there's also not enough women to stabilize both divisions without making it so repetitive. We'll look into the women's rosters in a bit. Let's hear the rest of this.
I would love to see, you know, more of our talent who aren't featured be featured more, because we're only as good as the amount of women we have carrying this evolution. And if we're only focusing on a certain number of women, where do we go from there?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we've got the depth without question. Booker, who do you think needs to kind of step up in this situation to broaden the horizons of the women's evolution?
You know what depth is called? It's called the 53-man roster. It's called an NFL roster. That's depth.
Thing right there, you know, that's the same. I've gone through that phase in my career where, you know, you wonder, you know, why isn't this guy doing that, and why isn't that guy doing that? And for myself, I've never been in that position, because I pretty much always tried to go out and make my own breaks. I do something. I'll break protocol somehow and make, you know.
So like grabbing the brass ring theory.
I might have a producer telling me, hey, go out there and do this and do that, and I'll go out in the ring and I'll totally forget about it, and I'll come back and say, hey man, I don't know what happened out there, but how was the match? You go, oh, it was awesome. Do the same thing next week. So you got to know how to use reverse psychology sometimes when you're working with these guys. So, but I do think the women should get a little bit more than just do, especially after Evolution.
Christian, what do you think with the absence of Ronda Rousey? Do you think that might have something to do with the sort of decline?
I mean, of course. I mean, it hurts when you lose a star the caliber of Ronda Rousey. You know, one of the biggest draws in all of sports, male or female for that matter. But you know, and she proved that she was a student of the game. She came in, had some great matches. She main evented WrestleMania, some huge things. But with that being said, leaving opens the door for somebody else to step up and fill those shoes.
Do you have something you want to tack in there?
Yeah, I do. Like, just because Ronda's gone doesn't mean that there isn't a women's division, though, to touch on that. There are so many girls. Sarah Logan, the Iconics, Liv Morgan.
What's their appeal, though? What is their appeal that, like, why do you think Ronda Rousey is so popular with people? She was in the UFC. She was in movies. That's why she was so popular in WWE. What appeal do those women that Ember Moon just mentioned have with people, not just in WWE, but also outside of it? What appeal?
You have Dana Brooke. There are so many people reaching for that brass ring, and they just need that platform. I want another Evolution. I want to give those women an opportunity to show the world what they can do. We proved the first time that Evolution was the hottest pay-per-view of the year, and we deserve every year to have that opportunity to continue to prove that,
I agree with
continue that evolution.
Agreed.
Yeah, without doubt. And it even seemed like Survivor Series of business was picking up a little bit with all the women at NXT as well. I mean, there's a ton of depth there. We've been saying that for some while. You know, looking at the milestones that we've done as well, the women finally getting to perform in Saudi Arabia. And Lex, you were part of. I mean, there's a ton of depth there. We've been saying that for some while. You know, looking at the milestones that we've done as well.
Now, hold on. Before I continue playing this, let's talk about Evolution a bit, because I feel like Evolution was more about the Ronda Rousey marketing campaign. Evolution, outside of Becky, Charlotte, Baszler, Sane, the main event, and the Mae Young Classic, everything outside of it was whatever. It was nothing special. I'm happy that there was an all women's pay-per-view, and I'm happy that women are getting like opportunity, like much big opportunities that like we saw last year and years past. But it comes down to one man, and not just one man, but everyone that has to make the most of their opportunities. Vince, for some reason, like still doesn't believe in in his own women's division, and I don't know, every time, like, even though their gimmicks may be crappy, or like no matter how good or bad their gimmicks are, it's like no one out there seems to make their gimmick very compelling. I mean, like, what outside of, oh, I'm Ric Flair's daughter, what makes Charlotte Flair appealing? What makes Becky Lynch, other than she's a Stone Cold ripoff, appealing? It's like, I'm looking for, like, outside of good wrestling ability, because I like wrestling ability, I like seeing great wrestling matches. I'm also looking for, how can I like a wrestler when they cut a promo, when they like show some character to them, some personality to them, and not these ripoffs, or not these cliches, or like these past things that we've seen before. So I don't know. I really don't know. That's why, like, this is not as marketable as WWE is like trying to make it out as to be.
Looking at the milestones that we've done as well, the women finally getting to perform in Saudi Arabia. And Lex, you were part of one of those matches with Sasha in Abu Dhabi. What's it like to be able to be that change?
It was incredible because, it shows that this women's evolution didn't start with a single person. It started with all of us, and it's not just local, it's worldwide. And I think that the fact that we have performed in Abu Dhabi and Saudi Arabia is incredible.
Again, why are we still underscoring the fact that, I mean, yeah, it was natural, but, why are we still underscoring, like, why are we still ignoring the fact that it didn't start back in 2014?
Without doubt, I mean, being able to see what Natalya did and seeing Lacey Evans, I mean, that was unbelievable to see them finally get that opportunity. And you were there the last time and didn't actually get that opportunity. And I know that was a heartbreaking moment for you and Natty, but finally came to fruition with Lacey. So we're making moves. It's happening. All right.
Yeah, it's like that moment, half of Evolution, I guess Mania 32 were key moments for me in regards to this so-called women's evolution or revolution, whatever you want to call it. But other than that, it's like WWE, I think WWE is making this too forced. It's like it felt natural at first, like when the whole give Divas a chance thing happened. It's like then they started doing longer matches, but then we also got to a point where we also got those random team ups and the random tag team matches. Then we eventually strayed away from it, but then we also eventually got to the hot potatoes with the women's championship, or with the Raw Women's Championship at least. The SmackDown Women's Championship at least got some stability, but even then, it's just like there's still not enough women to, like, in the main roster at least, that says who can I put on, like, say, Sports Center, or like in a Fox commercial that will make a Stephen A. Smith or Skip Bayless or a Troy Aikman or a Joe Buck like talk about whenever when they have to talk about it outside of a advertisement for SmackDown or Raw or a WWE pay-per-view. It's like that's the problem with both men's and women's wrestling in WWE and general wrestling today. It's like there are no marketable stars anymore. That's why when you see a promo for Fox, WWE on Fox on NFL Sundays, it's like no, the commentators can't add anything because there's nothing to add on because they don't know who is who anymore. They only know the people that was in professional wrestling's peak, like the Hogans, the Austins, and even Cena during the time. But it's like WWE, AEW is not making a conscious effort to market any of their stars right now. But in regards to WWE, they're not doing well enough, and they're not adding enough depth. No matter how much they say we have depth, there's not enough depth like to balance their divisions. Like you can look at the NXT women's division and see that even though it's still kind of limited, but Triple H still finds a way to balance it out each and every week, and even on takeovers, he still balances it out. But when you look at the main roster, you have a very select few of wrestlers that, yes, it's understandable that TV time is limited, especially on SmackDown, but it's like, get different women on every week. Like AEW does it. Why isn't WWE doing it? Like, yes, they're two different companies, but still, get with the times, you know. And it's like overexposure of the same woman leads to people turning on them. It's like I've said it many times before. I am tired of I don't dislike Becky Lynch's ring ability, but I'm so tired of seeing her gimmick overexposed and like repeated like without any improvements or like added like uniqueness to it. There was no uniqueness to begin with Becky Lynch's man gimmick. She was like, I'm the man. So there's like no appeal. There is no appeal in these women's wrestlers. Yes, you can blame that two wrestlers, Nia Jax and Ruby Riott are out with injuries, and Ronda Rousey is gone, technically, trying to start a family, but that still shouldn't excuse WWE or any of the women from debating with each other of how they need to go out there and try to, in any way, shape, or form, like market themselves to all fans alike and to people that want that should be talking about them. But so far right now, where we're at right now, we're only like Ember Moon said, we're only talking about 4 people, and that is because only 4 of them have market appeal, but yet have very flawed characters. So Vince, not just Vince, but Stephanie McMahon need to find a way to get this women's division like up and running again. Get some video packages going. Get some character revamps going for some of these superstars. like train some of these wrestlers to be actual wrestlers, please. Like the wrestlers I've seen in AEW, like the women's wrestlers I've seen in AEW, yeah, they might not be the best, like they might not be the best, like Baker and Statlander yet, but they have potential. And some like the Japanese women's wrestlers that I've seen in AEW might not be like for me, but they can wrestle. Now look at WWE and a majority of the roster, where's their wrestling ability? Where, like, and with both companies, where is their character arcs? Where is their story? What is their story? What is their background? WWE used to do that so well back in the day, and now it's all about spot fest, spot fest, spot fest. And it's just the same thing with the women's division today. But at least NXT is not relying on that formula. Like that, like it's 50-50. It's just 50-50 with NXT. But yeah. Anyway, that got me upset. That got me riled up because I just want the women's division to succeed. I'm not trying to be, you know, like against the whole thing. I do want this whole women's revolution thing. I do want to be on an even playing field with the men's division in the not just WWE but all of wrestling in general. But to get there, like we all of us need to make a conscious effort. Like all of them need to make a conscious effort on both sides to make it happen. But what am I to tell them what to do? I'm just a man behind the cam. I don't know. I can't rhyme for crap. But anyway, that's gonna do it for this episode of DylanLasagna Live. Make sure you tune in. Hopefully next week. It's gonna be like another Christmas hangover, another holiday hangover show. Hopefully I have something in mind for next week. I don't know what that is yet, but that is like with every week. There always is a to be determined topic, but we will see what happens then. But before I go, I want to show you guys something really cool that I know some of you will like. I know some of you will like. I got something in the mail today that's really awesome. That's gonna go straight on my wall as soon as I can find a place for it. And it's a really cool art piece that I got. That I got. I call it Bold and Brash, and it does not belong in the trash. Oh man, is it like I still can't believe this is an actual art piece. But isn't this cool? Like I can't believe this is an actual thing. Like whoever painted this is a god. Let me see who painted this. Produced under license by Silver Buffalo. It doesn't say who painted it though, but this thing is pretty legit. And honest to God, like this looked bigger in the product description. So I can't wait to hang this up, and I'm actually happy that this turned out to be the size that it is, because there is no way in hell that I was gonna be able to put I'm putting this on my wall if it was bigger. So I hope you guys enjoyed this DylanLasagna Live with my new picture, with my new wall canvas, Bold and Brash. So make sure you tune into next week for the Christmas hangover show. And I don't know what I'm gonna be talking about on that particular show. Hopefully I get some video game streaming action on Sunday. I hope to play something not Crash Team Racing, because I know some of you are tired of me playing that. I'm just trying to fit in some time for like if I wanted to start another game, like, cause I know Sunday is NFL day, and I do want to like watch like a couple of games. There's that big Cowboys Eagles game, but I also do want to stream it. Like, I do also want to stream some games for you guys. That's not a CTR. But anyway, stay tuned for that. Stay tuned if I'm gonna do like a video game stream on Sunday. But other than that, make sure you subscribe, all that good stuff, and stay tuned for updates here on YouTube, on the community tab, and on Twitter for all my good stuff. And always be delicious, and I will see you all next week. And I am out. Bold and brash, it doesn't